If you grew up in North America, this sound is a familiar one. It's the distinctive coo of the mourning dove. I'm gonna play the sound again, and this time I want you to imagine it's a warm summer's morning. Your window is open, the sun is shining through, and you've just been woken up by an incoming breeze. If I were to ask you the feelings that sound and scenario gave you, what words come to mind? Peace? Tranquility? Perhaps nostalgia? What is nostalgia? I'm willing to wager most people watching this video know the answer to that question even before putting words to a proper definition. We've all felt nostalgia at some point in our lives. Its dictionary definition reads, a sentimental or wistful longing of and for the past. If you've been on the internet at all in the past 10 years, you've probably noticed the same thing that I have. We are living in an epidemic of nostalgia. There are entire subcultures online dedicated to the reminiscing on a long-lost past, whether that be the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, the 2010s, 2020, that wasn't even a decade ago. Nostalgia used to be an emotion predominantly felt by those who had reached the later stages of their lives, reflecting on eras decades in the past. But today, people feel nostalgia for things that are still pretty firmly in recent memory. It leaves us with a few questions. First, what is nostalgia really? What's to blame for its recent surge in our popular consciousness, and what does it mean for our present societal trajectory and future? First, what is nostalgia? We've already read its dictionary definition, but when talking about such a complex of an emotion as this one, simple definitions become less useful in actually understanding them. Let's return to the mourning dove. Its distinctive coo has become perhaps the most iconic sound in the nostalgia space, especially early 2000s and 90s nostalgia. You'll often hear it in videos with images of items and experiences that someone who grew up at these times will find familiar to their childhood, alongside some sad, distorted music. Now, the mourning dove is actually my personal favorite bird, and not just because of the calming beauty of its call and the peaceful memories I associate it with, but also because of its name. I had always assumed it was called the mourning dove, spelled M-O-R-N-I-N-G. I assumed it had gotten this name due to its association with, well, morning time, singing out its coo at the break of dawn. But I eventually learned that it's actually called the mourning dove, with a U, as in the intense grief and sadness that comes with loss. I was taken aback by this, as it's oddly fitting for how the mourning dove's call is viewed and used today. People hear it and are brought back to a summer's morning when they were woken up by the sound. Specifically, a summer's morning from childhood, especially carefree part of the already carefree time that childhood is. But what exactly is being mourned here? I mean, the mourning dove is still around. I, in fact, just heard one's call earlier today. This is true for a lot of the things that are viewed with nostalgia today. Take, for example, Minecraft. A video game released in 2011. To say Minecraft has a cult following would be an immense understatement. Minecraft is perhaps the most successful game of the 21st century, if not all time. Anyone born after the year 2000 has at least heard of the game, if not played it, myself included. I still remember my first time playing Minecraft. My mom had bought it for my older sister, who had played it at a friend's house and came home begging for us to get it. I remember watching her playing before booting up a world of my own. Instantly, I was enthralled by the seemingly endless possibilities. I built a hotel out of glass. I covered a desert in glowstone to protect my 300 chickens from the zombies and skeletons that came with the darkness. As I grew up, I continued playing the game, building parkour challenges with my childhood best friend, trying to summon Herobrine, the game's urban legend, which has been scaring children for over a decade now. Some of my deepest conversations as a teenager would occur over late-night game chats while playing Minecraft, and through it all, one thing remained consistent. Through every world, every game mode, the music. The enchanting and calming music of C418 has become a staple of Minecraft's image. And today, this music is often viewed with immense nostalgia. And I get it. When I hear these simple notes that I made so many cherished memories listening to, I feel it. I feel the nostalgia. But Minecraft is still playable. I mean, you can even revert it back to past versions to make it the exact same game you used to play. So, what is it that's actually being mourned here? Obviously, it isn't actually mourning doves or Minecraft or Game Boys, colored pencils, scooters, or anything else you see slapped with the label of nostalgic. No, these are just vehicles for what's actually being grieved. The past. But not just any past, a romanticized past. Being alive is heavy stuff. The pains we experience in our personal lives and the chaos in the world around us can get really overwhelming. And when our brains get overwhelmed, they look for an escape. A place to go, a place to live that won't hurt so much. For some, this means daydreaming about the future. For others, it means reminiscing on the past. But not the real past, with all of its messiness and challenges. No, that's not a fun place to live. A romanticized past, with its rough edges smoothed out, will do much nicer. Especially if it's already a time that had far less responsibilities and stresses, like childhood. So great, nostalgia is a mourning of a romanticized past, but why has it had such a surge in our popular consciousness in the last 20 years? Well, the answer is simple. Being alive has gotten worse. No, don't get me wrong. Being human is the same beautiful tragedy that it always was, but for the first time in a century, living standards are decreasing for newer generations in comparison to older ones. The world is getting more expensive. Rent is going up while wages stagnate. Higher education comes with the cost of a mountain of debt, and owning a home has become more of a fantasy than a tangible goal. The world we were promised waited for us in adulthood is a distant memory. And beyond this, society is eating itself culturally. We live in a world that prioritizes profit over all else, and that has led to a tangible gutting of the things that elicited joy when they became no longer profitable. Remember Toys R Us? Rainforest Cafe? Hell, bowling alleys still exist, but they're far too expensive to justify going to them. The world has become less colorful, less joy-filled. And it makes sense. It used to be necessary for the powers that be to at least give the masses pieces of joy, to keep them pleased and to make them want to spend money. But today, that's entirely unnecessary. We're all addicts to the things that we consume. The poison that is fast food, the endless amounts of entertainment, and anything else that numbs the pains of life. The quality of these things can continue to go down the drain, and we'll still buy and consume them. We're completely hooked. So, what now? First, let me say, being able to feel nostalgia is itself a great privilege. It means you experienced a time that is at least capable of romanticization. It is something that I am personally very grateful for. I grew up without fearing for my life, without starving, with clean water. I got to play Minecraft. The relative luxuries enjoyed in the first world are not seen everywhere else. In fact, the pleasures of living in the United States and Europe are only possible due to the exploitation of the global South. It's not incidental, it's systemic, and many of us, myself included, have benefited. But now even those of us living in these places are experiencing a tangible decline in our material conditions. as the wealth gap grows larger and larger. Think for a moment how you imagined the world to be when you were a kid, as naive as that may have been. A place of abundance and kindness and joy. We're often told that believing the world could be this way is foolhardy, that childlike dreaming is something to be looked down upon. But romanticization can be a force for good. It can be a force for inaction and stagnation, but when used correctly, it can be one of hope. I mean, dreaming of a romanticized world and then questioning the systems that keeps us from that world is the first step in challenging them. And that, my friends, is the power of nostalgia. That is how we turn it into a force of change, from a mourning of a romanticized past to a hope for a better future and a willingness to fight for it. I'm James D. Thank you for watching.